have things in your life that to you are completely normal and that's how you live your life, and then someone comes and stays with you and they see you do these things and they're like, oh my God, that's just genius. Why did I never think of that or know that before? And it changes their lives. It's your secret weapon to certain things that for you is obvious, you've done it for years, but for them is revolutionary. Well, that's what I want to share with you today. In today's episode of Coming to Your Senses, I want to share with you 3 secret weapons that have made big differences in my life. Now, they're all accessible, pretty much. I don't think that they're really not accessible, because if you're listening to this podcast, then they're going to be accessible to you. So I'm going to jump straight in with the first one, which is my secret weapon. And if I lived in a warmer country or had space to be able to have a huge greenhouse and grow, would be lemons. Lemons are one of my secret weapons. Now, I have been having hot water and lemon for somewhere in the region of 15 years, and I have it first thing in the morning. I don't know what research there is to back this up, because a lot of it seems to be speculative. But from my perspective, what I know with anything, lemon and hot water aside, is that whenever I get an inkling into something, is if it seems like it's the right thing for me to do, I test it out for myself. I don't wait just for the scientific research, although sometimes it's great to know some of that as a backup information. But if it seems like something that I want to test out, then I will do for 7, 21 or 30 days minimum, to see what the impact is that has on either inputting something into my life or even pulling something out of my life. And I genuinely cannot remember when I switched from having a cup of coffee or a cup of tea as my first morning drink to having, and I think initially it was just hot water. I've got a sneaking suspicion that it was when I was working in the theatre and I was sharing digs with somebody, and they obviously saw that I had my morning hot water and they suggested to put lemon in. I can't point to who that person was, but if you know who you are, I'm extremely grateful. The conversation was around how I'd removed coffee because, or tea first thing as my first thing to drink, because I was aware that actually I wasn't drinking a lot of water and I probably needed to add some more of that into my everyday. So I thought, well, if I have it my first one, then at least I'm setting myself up. That was my starter. And then when they'd mentioned about the lemon, what became obvious was that not only did it give a nice flavor, but it seemed to, for me, spark some kind of energy, not like an energy drink or caffeine or anything like that, but it just seemed to awaken the senses a bit more. Subsequently, so I've got the hydration, I've got the energizing coming in, but then other people have mentioned that it's great for your metabolism. It kind of gives it a little bit of a zing and a wake up. People have suggested about putting things like Celtic sea salt or ginger or cayenne pepper into it as well. And I play around with adding various ones of those depending on how I'm feeling. But it can awaken the senses, awaken that system, which I think is where that energizing that I experience. But also it has, and I think that this very first person I spoke to about it, I think that they mentioned that it can help with weight loss. Now, I'm not 100% sure how true this is, but what I do know is that I feel good from it. I think weight loss, from my perspective, is about the consumption, very, very clear on what it is I take in food-wise and how much I move my body. I'm not really sure how much the hot lemon water adds into that. But having it as my drink first thing in the morning. So basically, I get up, I go to the bathroom, I brush my teeth, go down and let the dog out, put the kettle on, do my hot water and lemon, go up, and then I meditate. And then after I've meditated, there's a couple of other things I do. Actually, I'm doing a new routine at the moment, but that's my go-to is that. And then I, once the water has cooled down, that's when I drink that. And lemons, as I use a lot of them, I've started looking for other ways that you can use them. And this is where they've become my secret weapon, because lemons have got so many different purposes to them. They are a great cleaning tool. So after I've taken the juice out for my morning drink, I can keep what's left. And I can use that for cleaning chopping boards, or I can collect a pile of them, put them in a jar, add in some white vinegar and some vodka, and create my own cleaning products. They are truly, truly amazing. And also, one of the cheeky little things I do with lemons as my secret weapon is when it's really sunny and I know that I'm going to be outside in the sun, is I add it to my hair. I know, it might seem a bit odd, but I like the sun-kissed look, and I like to colour my hair as much as I possibly can without any chemicals, which isn't as easy as I had thought when I started looking out to do that. But adding that in, it gives, so you can't really see it now, but when I went to Portugal earlier this year, and I did it, I was picking lemons off the trees for free out there. And I was adding it in pretty much every other day. And these beautiful golden colours were starting to appear from being in the sun and the reaction. And then it wouldn't, they'd last for a couple of weeks, and then it would just naturally change back to my normal colour. So lemons are, and I'm just listing 3 things out there that I use them for, but there are so many other things that you can use lemons for. They are a phenomenal secret weapon. Now, if you have the capacity to grow them, then grow them. Why wouldn't you grow them? But if you don't, then buy them, buy fresh lemons and utilize them as much as you possibly can in the various ways. And I'm sure you can come up with other ones as well. My next secret weapon is one that became on trend, and that every man and his dog seemed to be talking about it probably somewhere between 10 and 15 years ago. And that's coconut oil. Now, there are actually more so with this than the hot lemon water. There's lots and lots of research papers out there around the benefits of coconut oil and the consumption of it, and the impact that it can have on your neurology, the impact that it can have on your system. So it's well worth looking into that for yourself. I have used it in various ways over the years. I have used it as a hair mask, overnight hair mask, and that really works well. I've used it on my skin as a moisturizer. I love that, especially if I've been in the sun a lot. That's a really great way of re-nourishing and nurturing my skin. I did have a go at the oil pulling. I don't know if you've ever heard of oil pulling. It's phenomenal for cleaning your teeth and your gums as well. I am just not a fan of the texture of oil. So I can't even have it on salad dressings. So that's a no-no for me, but I'm going to look into making my own toothpaste and potentially using coconut oil for that. But the thing that I hadn't anticipated with coconut oil, so I've added it in, I use it to cook. I add it into things if I'm making things like energy balls or smoothies. There's so many different ways that you can use it, and it's great. And one day I was using it, and I obviously had some of it on my fingers, and bent down to feed my dog. And he was more interested in the residue of the coconut oil than he was the treat that I was handing him. So I put a little bit extra on my finger, and he loves it. And what's brilliant is because it's an all-natural product, I use raw, extra virgin coconut oil that's cold pressed. If he occasionally will have little skin issues, is that I will use a tiny amount on that as well, and know that it's great for his skin, it's great for his coat, and it's not going to bother him. He absolutely loves it. So it's another one of my secret weapons. I always keep it in the cupboard. I've made bath salts, not bath salt, exfoliator using coconut oil and granulated sugar with different flavors of oils. There's just so many things that you can use. It's such a great thing to create your own scrubs with. It's just a cupboard essential as far as I'm concerned, is just add it in and utilize it. It's just brilliant. And then my final secret weapon, she says, looking around for her phone. So I have been using this. This is an app that is free, and it's called Insight Timer. And The Insight Timer app I have been using for 2,789 days, and 2,660 of those days have been consecutive. So you see that it keeps track there. Now, the thing that I love about this app is that it gives us the ability to really just create your own way of meditating. You can do that. This is not sponsored by Insight Timer. If I find something I really like that works, I tend to share it with people. But the reason it's one of my secret weapons is because it's the app that I use in the mornings to meditate with, and I do that every single day, and I have done for 2,660 days. But what I love about it is that there have been times when, for example, a few years back, I was having not regular, but more frequent headaches and a couple of migraines. And I just put headache or migraine into the search, and these different meditations or healing music or various things that hypnosis stuff was coming up. And it was just such a brilliant way to trial what could work. And some of them were just perfect. Some of them didn't touch the sides, especially when I had a migraine. But it's worth trialing. There's so many different things. There's ambient music. Obviously, you can do silence and then have different chimes that go on. There are guided talks. There are courses. There's just so much on there. And when I was really ill 6 years ago, just prior to discovering that I was really ill, I had a bout of insomnia, and I'm usually the kind of person who my head hits the pillow and I'm out for the count, and it's the alarm that wakes me up in the morning, and sleep right through. But I went through days, and I'm not just talking about broken sleep. I am talking about no sleep whatsoever. And it was a real insight for me, pardon the pun, of how much I could get myself stressed out about that, because then I began thinking about, oh my God, but I've got all this work to do tomorrow. And if I don't get this work done, if I don't get any sleep, well, how am I going to get that work done, and yada, yada. So it was a spiral of overthinking, and therefore then stressing about the situation. And I use the Insight Timer to be able to find different either meditations or talks or music to help either guide me into sleep, and sometimes that worked. But for the majority of the time when it didn't, and I genuinely didn't sleep all the way through the night, that actually it was just a way of making sure that I was relaxed. So that even though I wasn't going into deep sleep, I was in a state of deep relaxation and non-sleep, which at least the body was rested. And the thing that genuinely surprised me, having spent so much time going, oh my God, how am I going to cope tomorrow with not sleeping, and how's my energy going to be? I was really surprised at how easy is not the right word, not difficult the next day was, even though I hadn't had the sleep. And I'm convinced it was because I relaxed, even though I didn't have my eyes closed and I wasn't fully asleep. I didn't go into deep sleep. That actually, I think because my physiology was so relaxed and my brain was so relaxed, is that actually it removed any of that tension that could have caused any energy impact the next day. And it has become my go-to secret weapon, the Insight Timer, so much so that we use it at the retreats that I run, and pretty much every delegate ends up downloading it then and there and using it. And also, I've had numerous clients that have been on some of the paid apps, other meditation apps, other mindfulness apps. And what they have said about the Insight Timer is that they have just found, because there is such a variety, it's not the same thing over and over again, that variety has helped keep them constant with their meditation practice, as opposed to just doing one thing over and over again, which they then switched off from. And I would say the same thing. At the moment, I'm doing a particular meditation practice for this month. So as I've said, September, which is when I'm recording this, I'm adding some few things in, because I'm doing my own testing, I have more secret weapons. It's not just my lemons and coconut oil and the insight timer. Pretty much every month I am thinking about what would be helpful to add in or what would be helpful to remove. And I'm testing things. I'm not testing them to see whether they are right or wrong based on any research information. I'm testing them to see how they work with this body and with this lifestyle. And that's what I would encourage you to do with any of the invitations that any of my guests on this podcast have suggested. Journaling, I know, for example, is one that has been mentioned numerous times. And as I've recorded the podcasts, the little voice when the guest is mentioning journaling, Jules, do you not think you should add that in? And I'm like, let me see. And it's something I've added in this month. So we'll see how that goes. I did do it last month as well, but I'm doing it slightly differently this month. So we'll see how it goes. But it's always useful to keep a collection of these different invitations, these secret weapons that help other people maintain the kind of lifestyle that of dealing with life on a day-to-day basis that are offered out by myself and by the guests on this podcast. Please don't ever think you've got to add them all into your life, and please don't even attempt to do that, because the sense of overwhelm with that will probably mean that you won't do any, or that you'll probably fail and then think, well, what's the point? They're not going to work. But look for the ones that resonate with you and give yourself that period of time. Dedicate either a week, 21 days, or a month. I would personally say a month, but I know sometimes people are like, I've only got 7 days. Do the 7 days, even if that's all you've got. But consistently do it. So if you miss a day, then reset your 7 days. Because then it will give you the opportunity to start to see what impact that potentially could have on your life on an everyday basis. So they're my secret weapons. I may do another. I'm gonna put this as secret weapons part 1 maybe, and then I will add in some secret weapons maybe at another point. But the reason I share it is because there have been many, many times in my life that coming to my senses has been, whether it was my marriage breakdown, whether it was health challenges, whether it was a nurse telling me I was overweight, whether it was me realizing how unfit I was, whether it was not being able to pay for my food shopping. All of those things are just an invitation, really, to make a change, to do something differently. I genuinely believe that life gives us these nudges to go, come on, you can do something different. This could be different for you. Here's a little shove to give you a little bit of push, a little bit of a motivation. We have access these days to this wonderful thing of the internet. So there are a gazillion ideas out there for what you can do. But my suggestion is always apply it for a period of time to see how that works in your life. And if you've done it for a week and you're like, not sure, then do another week. And if you're still not sure, then just do another week. And if you're not sure, then do another week. And then you've guessed it, another week. That's how I've made the changes that I've made in my life. And as I've said on numerous occasions, I still look back and think, how on earth is my life is so, so different now to how it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, let alone 20 years ago. But I haven't made all the changes overnight. It is literally just taking them little by little by little and adding the next little bit in order to be able to make the difference for myself. And that's my invitation for you. If you've got secret weapons that you use, that you know make a difference in your life, then please do put them in the comment section, because I would love to see them so that I can trial them out, so that I can see whether I'm already doing them or where and how they might fit into my one life. We have one at this current moment, as far as I'm aware. Please do remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you have been listening to more than 2 or 3 of these episodes and you like coming to your senses too, then please do leave me a review, because that helps us reach even more people. And so we can keep the podcast going, because it's something that I love and the feedback that you are giving me in person, which I'm extremely grateful for, has been phenomenal. So please do that. Leave that in the comments. Please do like and share. And I look forward to speaking to you again on another episode very soon.